All right, welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Scott Engler, published author and thought leader on using LinkedIn to optimize your job search and contemporary job search strategies. And so I'm really excited about today's topic because I find that even though the data and the facts continue to show that LinkedIn is by far and away the number one source for people looking to transition in their careers or find a new job, that it's still not something that people are finding easy success with. And I know this because I've been working with people in this area for years and years now. I've literally helped thousands of people with using LinkedIn and understanding how to use LinkedIn for job searching, from everywhere from having a Manager's Choice Award article in 2015, top 10 ways to use LinkedIn to find your next job, to being hired by LinkedIn last year to help job seekers with their profile for a pilot project that they had. So this is an area I'm very familiar with. And what I found, though, is even though job seekers are starting to trickle in more and more over the years on using LinkedIn, because for anybody that's listening and might not have listened to any of my other materials before, the research continues to show that roughly 95% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to find top talent. And last year, according to Social Talent, on a global survey they said 98% of recruiters, this is a global report, right? So 98% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to source candidates. And that means that they're either vetting candidates through the LinkedIn, for bringing them in for an interview, or they're using it to find candidates, right? So the data's out there, right? And my clients, when they work with me, they get great results because of that data. And the opposite is much lower. I don't know the most recent research, but the amount of job seekers that use LinkedIn to find work is much, much, much lower. In fact, I'd say about 5 years ago, it was about like 25 to 30% job seekers using LinkedIn to find work. And I don't know what the data is now, but regardless, that's very off balance, right? If there's almost 100% of recruiters on LinkedIn to find job seekers, but around 30% using LinkedIn to find jobs. Regardless of the amount of job seekers today, the fact remains that even of the people that are using LinkedIn as a job seeker, they're not using it effectively. And that's the biggest thing. They're not using it effectively to find the right types of jobs and attract the right recruiters for those jobs and access what people call the hidden job market, which really is just a few things. My understanding of the hidden job market really is just it's to tap into your own network, right, and find out about job opportunities that might not have been posted publicly yet that way. So maybe there's a internal posting within the company and you happen to have it in there. The other thing is that savvy recruiters understand that passive candidates, which are people that are not necessarily actively looking for work, are often the best find. And so they will search for candidates that way. And a lot of times the jobs that they're searching for candidates, and it doesn't have to be passive, I was just using that as an example, but a lot of times recruiters might be looking for people to place somewhere that's not a publicly posted job. And part of the reason this, again, is because of the research showing that passive candidates make great talent. But the other reason that I believe, and this is actually just a speculation, so I could be wrong, but is that when they post it publicly, they have to deal with sifting and vetting, which is a very lengthy process. So if they don't post the job publicly and they're just looking around and they could find the right person, then they save a lot of extra time and money for the company. So there's those secondary benefits. And again, that really is just part of, my speculation, just understanding how recruiting works and whatnot. But again, let's get into cracking the code. I just wanted to give people listening kind of a brief overview of why this is so important to crack the code of LinkedIn and what I believe are the 4 factors that you could use to crack the code on using LinkedIn for job searching. So the first one is hugely important, and that is optimize. So the word optimize, right? So optimize means optimizing your LinkedIn profile and really most job seekers don't. In fact, when I was working for LinkedIn and just over the years when I've looked at so many, I'd say thousands of LinkedIn profiles now, most people don't. In fact, close to 50%, I read somewhere last year that close to 50% of job seekers don't even have their profile 100% completed. Now, that is just, in my opinion, basic optimization. So optimization is essentially, to put it in simpler terms, is really how are you using the filling in the blanks on your profile to show up higher on the search results for people to find you? Are you using the right keywords, or are you even filling out the sections that LinkedIn considers to be 100% complete, right? So close to 50% of job seekers aren't even filling out the information correctly to have their profile considered 100% by LinkedIn standards. Now, why is that so important? Hopefully you're kind of catching on. So if your profile is not 100, if I'm going up against a bunch of different people for the same job opportunity, right? And my profile is not 100% complete, then the person that has a profile that's 100% complete is going to show up higher on search results when recruiters do advanced searches for a particular role or whatever it is. So you could understand, hopefully, by what I'm saying, why it is so extremely important to optimize your profile. And again, if 50%, or it's like something like 48% of job seekers are not doing even that, why that is such a huge hindrance to not finding the right opportunities. Again, for anybody that does anything related to tech or has looked for, even if you're looking for an apartment to rent or house or any type of professional service, if the search results show, like, let's say I'm looking for someone let's say I'm on like a site like care.com to find a babysitter. Let's just say, for my kids, I'm using this reputable site, and I type in babysitter in my local area, and 5,000 people show up in the local surrounding area of my city. Do you think I'm going to look through all 5,000 matches? No, I'm going to look at, the first 5 to 10 most likely, and read a few profiles, and then probably message, 2 or 3 of them that have great reviews. That's the standard now, right? And so the same applies to your LinkedIn, and that's why it's so extremely important to optimize your profile, even just at 100% by LinkedIn standards. And then there are other things that I've learned that put it like above 100%, essentially, that there's other things that put you even higher than other people that have filled out all those basics sections. Because even just having what's considered, I'm doing air quotes, 100% really is just a basic profile completion. Like if you're on a dating app or any other thing, that's really what it is. Just having your basic profile filled out according to that company's standards, which are always going to look different from site to site and even changes within LinkedIn. So just as a simple step, find out what that is. Find out what that is. What does it mean to have your profile 100% complete? I'm not going to get into that today. I do have it on my other material, but do your homework there, and it's really easy to figure that out. People post about it all the time. It's freely accessible. Do it. So the second one is personalize. So step number 2, personalize your presence on LinkedIn. And what personalize means is your branding. And this is something, if anyone's followed me for any length of time, knows that's my thing, is branding. How do you, what I call, brag appropriately on your profile? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you tell a story that's engaging? How do you connect with the reader in a way that they're enticed to read more about you. Again, if you've been following me for any length of time, you probably heard me say, or I'll say it again, that a recruiter is going to spend an average of 10 seconds looking at your profile. That is not a long time at all. And so what most people do is, even if they are using LinkedIn for job searching, they don't know how to effectively engage and personalize their profile to connect with the right recruiters and have them looking at their profile for longer, right? And being enticed and intrigued to reach out to them. And part of that problem is that I believe that most of us, especially the baby boomer generation that I work primarily with, haven't, what we've learned in the past on how to brand ourselves actually works against us when it comes to branding yourself on LinkedIn. And what I mean, just to kind of go into it briefly, is that what I call the cardiologist report jargon of using very dense wording, a lot of times speaking in third person on your personal profile, that's all not enticing, not engaging, very dense information that's not easy to absorb. And when you're considering that you have a human being that's looked over probably sometimes thousands of profiles a day, you want to make your personalization to be easy to digest and effective, which is a process. But personalizing it makes a huge difference, because I'm sure for most of you listening, you could understand this information overload, or as someone else says that I like, they call it information overwhelm. Whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, we're bombarded with so much digital wording and jargon and so much every single day, that if you could really personalize who you are, what you do, why you're hopefully the best at it, what makes you different, in a way that could connect with your audience on a personal level and make them interested in who you are, buying into your mission and wanting to contact you, then you've already separated yourself and you're really cracking the LinkedIn code, right? So that kind of goes in with number 3. And number 3 on the cracking the code on using LinkedIn for job searching is connect. So connect can mean a lot of different things, right? Connect means connect with your audience, connect with recruiters, connect with people that you're networking with, connect with people that you've done business with in the past, connect with people that you've gone to school with, connect with clients that you've had over the years, connect with people that have worked under you, connect with people that have worked over you. I primarily work with executive level job seekers, but the rules are going to apply, the same principles are going to apply regardless of where you're at, to connect with people that you've worked with and done business with and been in a professional setting with over the years, and connecting with new people, right? So building a connection, right? Developing and building a connection. What I like to say is use LinkedIn as you would network in real life. Make relationships with people, develop your relationships, cultivate, continue your relationships with people. We often lose touch with people over the years, which just is part of the process and happens. So how do you reconnect? How do you connect with new people? How do you connect? Just establishing that bond. And what are some ways that you can connect? Sometimes, some people, like myself, I like writing. So writing articles might be a great way to connect with people. Some people like doing videos. Some people like to share articles, giving your opinion on it. Maybe, I would recommend if you're job searching, to connect with relevant information that has to do with your industry, connecting with other thought leaders in your industry. There's all sorts of ways that you could connect, but I think in its simplest form, if we could remember this, how am I connecting with people on a personal and professional level on LinkedIn is a huge one for cracking this code, right? It's more than just numbers here. And so again, if you could personalize things and connect, you're already really, really, I'd say 50 steps ahead out of most job seekers. So the fourth one, and I think this is one Well, connection and personalizing is tough for people because I think a lot of people, again, have learned ways that don't work well. And a lot of times people are afraid to be seen online. And it is, it is scary. And that's a lot of times why I think people it is necessary for them to work with a professional or have some accountability, because what I see happen to people is that they don't put themselves out there. They're scared. They're not sure of what to do on LinkedIn. They don't understand how to use the site effectively. And so they kind of just stay hidden, right? And LinkedIn is not a site you want to stay hidden on when there's over 500 million people on the site and it's hard enough to stand out as it is, right? So that's why it's so important to understand these concepts, but also to hire a professional, do something, have an accountability partner where you're stepping outside your comfort zone and doing these things. The fourth one, which I think that even when people do hit the first three, which is not as common, is consistency. I have people coming to me all the time and they want this magic wand waved over them where they're just going to do something really quick. Hey, write my profile for me, or do this for me, or let's just do this for a couple weeks, and then they just expect the sky is going to part, and then just the heavens open up and all these jobs are just going to fall down their lap. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. Of course, when you do a lot of these things, you will, my clients do find consistently that they start attracting better opportunities. However, there is a consistency that's necessary, right? You can't just do it and then leave and expect that you're just going to keep getting results. Part of the reason that I've had the success I've had on LinkedIn is because I've been consistent for years now. Consistently writing articles, consistently posting, consistently sharing, consistently working with people, consistently helping people. It didn't just happen overnight, right? And more now that the online world is becoming so saturated, it is crucial. You have to be consistent. And so, the people that I've found that get the jobs they want, that are successful, they're consistently using the site. Even if you could do one or two things, or dedicate 1 to 2 hours to maybe you make a post, or maybe you're sharing in a group that there's some back and forth. Maybe you're on that premium job seeker group and you post about something, whatever it is that you could do consistently that you think is bringing out the best version of you in a professional setting is going to be huge. And it's so necessary because, again, it's just a factor that people they don't want to do. They want, I feel like more and more we're becoming programmed to want just these results happen instantly in our, this high-driven technology world. But the truth is that you are going to have to put in a little bit of time, and you're going to have to be consistent about it. And so understanding that this is really a huge, vital component is necessary. So it's something that you have to, understand and accept if you really do want to experience great results. And of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but what I continue to see again over the years with interviewing successful job seekers, working with a ton of them, speaking to thousands of them, is that the people that are consistently posting, sharing reputable information, connecting with people in their network, reconnecting with people, those are the people that get what they want. And so that's really what I believe are 4 core steps or areas, if you will, to crack the code on using LinkedIn for job searching. So thank you so much for listening. If this was helpful for you, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that subscribe button that's going to be below. And if you were interested in optimizing your LinkedIn profile to crack the code on using LinkedIn for job searching, you're more than welcome to send me an email on LinkedIn with the headline Serious Inquiry, and we could discuss what that process looks like. Thanks again, and remember, the path to experiencing different results begins by asking different questions and taking different actions one step at a time.